Everyone in horror movie comments thinks they're built different. Not me, I would have survived that, yada, yada, yada. You're all just yappers. None of you are going to survive these 10 horror movie monsters I've got for you today. And if you really think you can, don't even comment built different, because you gotta like and subscribe first in order to do that. Or else I will show up as your sleep paralysis demon tonight. Let's start with Unfriended Dark Web. You know, the movie that makes your Facebook privacy settings look about as secure as a screen door on a submarine. Here's the thing about the Sharons. They're not your regular, I can hack your Instagram script kitties. These people turn technology into psychological warfare. While you're busy thinking you're safe because you finally set up two-factor authentication, they're already controlling your smart home, your bank account, and probably that Ring doorbell you thought would make you safer. But I just disconnect from the internet. My brother in Christ, you can't even go 2 hours without checking TikTok. Besides, these people don't need you online to ruin your life. They'll just deepfake you committing crimes and sit back while the SWAT team does their work for them. Remember that embarrassing photo you deleted? They don't just have it. They've already turned it into a masterpiece of incrimination. And let's talk about the creativity, because these folks make Saw's Jigsaw look like an amateur. They don't just want to kill you, they want to turn your death into a viral moment. Imagine your last moments become a trending hashtag and you can't even defend yourself because you're too busy, you know, being dead. The scariest part, they're patient. While you're posting about how you'd survive a horror movie, they're probably already cataloging your entire digital footprint. That weird email you got last week, that random friend request, that oddly specific ad that knew too much, yeah, good luck sleeping tonight. Sure, you might think your IT degree and a VPN will save you, but while you're feeling smug about your password manager, the Sharons are probably watching you through your smart fridge, wondering if they should make your toaster commit arson or your Roomba record your final moments. Speaking of having your personal information exposed by murderous hackers, this is actually a perfect time to talk about today's video sponsor, Incogni. But while the Sharons might be fictional, the real-life people buying and selling your data are scarier than any horror movie I've actually covered. Think I'm exaggerating? These data brokers out here are collecting everything from your shopping habits to your deepest, darkest secrets. Okay, maybe not that last part, but they do know your entire family tree, medical history, and probably what you had for breakfast last Tuesday. That's why I started using Incogni. They're like the Ghostbusters of the internet, except instead of busting slimy green ghosts, they're busting sketchy data brokers who are selling your information. And unlike me and you trying to survive in horror movies, they actually know what they're doing. Here's how it works. Incogni automatically contacts these data brokers and basically tells them, hey, you delete that. But you know, like legally and professionally. They handle all the paperwork, all the follow-ups, and make sure your information stays gone. It's literally as easy as creating an account, then letting Incogni hunt down your data, and then you watch as they banish it from the internet. And unlike most things in horror movies, this actually works. Plus, they offer a 30-day money-back guarantee. So click the link in the description and use my code on screen now to get 60% off your annual plan. Because while you probably don't have to deal with the Sharons, identity theft is the kind of horror movie that can happen to anyone. Thank you to Incogni for sponsoring this video. Now, if you think data brokers are scary, wait until you see what happens when a spaceship literally goes to hell. And I mean that literally. Event Horizon is supposed to make your space exploration dreams crash and burn. Basically, the ship, the Event Horizon, isn't just haunted. It's been to a dimension so horrifying that hell probably has it on their vision board. And before you say, I just stay calm and follow space protocol, this ship literally shows you your worst fears and regrets in 4K Ultra HD. Your trauma isn't just living rent-free in your head anymore. It's getting a full cinematic release. But I just not look at the hallucinations. Wow. Genius plan. Because when you're trapped in a possessed spaceship that's basically running a greatest hits compilation of your deepest regrets, you'll totally keep your cool. You can't even handle watching your old Facebook memories without cringing. Try dealing with a ship that turns your guilt into a horror show. But let's talk about the ship itself, because this isn't your standard lights flicker and doors slam haunted house in space. The Event Horizon doesn't just want to kill you, it wants to give you an existential crisis first. Imagine being trapped in a place where the walls literally bleed, gravity decides to take a coffee break, and every corner might lead to a dimension that makes your sleep paralysis demons look like Pixar characters. The best part? There's no escape. You're in space, genius. There's no running outside. There's no calling an Uber. There's not even a convenient window to jump through. Because surprise, that's actually what space wants you to do. Your only options are stay and face the horror, or take a lovely unprotected spacewalk. Hope you enjoyed living, because it's about to not happen anymore. Sure, you might think your experience playing Among Us has prepared you for space survival, but trust me, no amount of emergency meetings are going to help you when your ship decides to turn your crew into a modern art exhibition of trauma and torture. But do you think being trapped in space with your demons is bad? Wait until you see what's lurking 7 miles under the sea. Hope you're not afraid of deep water. Remember when Finding Nemo made you scared of the deep ocean? Well, underwater is about to make Nemo's drop-off look like a kiddie pool, because 7 miles down, under crushing pressure that can turn your bones into confetti, something's waiting that makes sharks look like goldfish. Let's break down why you're fish food. First, you're dealing with an environment that's already trying to kill you. The Mariana Trench has enough pressure to compress a tank into a soda can. Your fancy scuba certification? That's adorable. That's like bringing a pool noodle to a tsunami. But I'm a strong swimmer. Oh dear God, dude. You get winded going up 3 flights of stairs. These deep sea nightmares evolved in conditions that would liquidate your organs. While you're struggling to remember which buttons turn on your flashlight, these things are playing underwater tag with your escape pod. And let's talk about those creatures, because Lovecraft himself would have needed therapy after seeing these things. They're not just big. They're what happens when evolution does a line of cosmic horror cocaine and decides to get creative afterwards. You think you're tough because you once killed a spider without crying? Try facing something that looks like a genetic smoothie of every deep sea monster photo you've ever had the misfortune of Googling at 3 a.m. The worst part? You can't even see them coming. Down there, your visibility is basically limited to whatever sad little light you brought with you. And guess what? These things don't need light. They've been hunting in the dark since before your ancestors figured out how to walk upright. Your flashlight isn't helping you see, it's just announcing dinner is served in Morse code for monsters. But do you think being hunted in the ocean's darkest depths is terrifying? Wait and see what happens when a rookie cop's night shift turns into a supernatural nightmare. The night shift, where nothing ever bad happens, right? Wrong. Last Shift is about to make your graveyard McDonald's stories look like a Disney special, because this isn't your regular weird customer at 3 a.m. situation. This is what happens when a police station becomes hell's waiting room. Meet Officer Jessica Loren working her first solo shift in a closing station. Already a red flag bigger than your ex's entire collection, but no, our girl decides to stick around even after things start getting spookier than my browsing history. And before you start with the "I would have left immediately" nonsense, you still check under your bed after watching Paranormal Activity. Let's be honest what you would do here. But I just called for backup. With what phone, genius? The spirits aren't running a customer service line. They're more interested in turning your sanity into their personal art project. While you're trying to remember the non-emergency number, they're already redecorating the station into a satanic cult church. Now let's talk about John Michael Payman and his lovely little cult of murderous psychopaths. These aren't your typical "we drink kombucha and like to cultists. These are the "will make your reality melt faster than a microwave that's doing an acid trip" cultists. And guess what? Death didn't make them any less enthusiastic about their hobbies. The real kicker here though, the hallucinations. You think you're tough because you can handle jump scares? Try dealing with reality itself becoming about as reliable as a political system in 2025. Yeah, it's One minute you're doing paperwork, the next you're watching the walls bleed while ghost cultists critique your life choices, and they're not gentle with their feedback. Sure, you might think your true crime podcast addiction has you prepared for anything, but knowing who killed John Bennett Ramsey isn't going to help when the ghost of a cult leader is turning your workplace into a paranormal Pinterest board of terror. At least regular jobs just give you anxiety. This one gives you a front row seat to your own personal apocalypse. But if you think being trapped in a haunted police station is bad, wait until you meet something that makes your road trip playlist the soundtrack to your doom. Hope you like oldies music. You know that moment when you're driving and see something weird on the side of the road? The smart thing to do is to keep driving, but no, horror movie characters just have to investigate. And in Jeepers Creepers, being nosy doesn't just kill the cat. It tracks something that makes your local cryptid look like a stray kitten. Let's talk about the Creeper. And no, not the Minecraft dude, because this isn't your average roadside serial killer with daddy issues. This is what happens when evolution takes a wrong turn, gets lost, and decides to like incest. Every 23rd spring, for 23 days, it gets to eat. And guess what? You're not on its diet plan. You're on its shopping list for spare parts. But I just outrun it. My dude, this thing can fly faster than your dating standards dropping at 3 a.m. While you're busy trying to remember if your car insurance covers ancient demon damage, it's already picking out which parts of you would make the best replacement organs. It's basically doing extreme body modification, except you're the unwilling donor. And here's the fun part. It can smell your fear. That's right. This isn't just a physical threat. It's a walking, flying anxiety detector. Basically, I'm but you can't even have a panic attack in peace, because that's basically like ringing a dinner bell for it. Your fear doesn't just paralyze you anymore. It's like seasoning for a creature that shops for body parts like you browse Amazon. But the absolute worst part, it's picky. This thing doesn't just kill randomly, it window shops. Imagine being murdered not because you were in the wrong place at the wrong time, but because this ancient demon decided your eyes would look better in its own face. Yeah, that's pretty messed up, but if you think one unstoppable monster is terrifying, wait until you see what happens when an entire town becomes an all-you-can-eat buffet for something much worse. I hope you've been practicing your cardio, because you're gonna have to start running soon. Remember when your small town's biggest problem was that one guy who keeps putting up conspiracy 3 billboards? Well, Savageland is about to make your local next door drama look like a PBS kids show, because this isn't your regular weird stuff happening in a small town story. This is what happens when an entire border town becomes a supernatural crime scene. And the only evidence? A roll of film from Francisco Salazar, who everyone immediately blamed because apparently small towns never change. But these aren't your Instagram food pics or badly filtered selfies. These photos make your aunt's blurry Facebook uploads look like National Geographic material, except instead of capturing nature's beauty, they're documenting nature's nightmares. But I just barricade myself inside. Dude, the entire population of this town had the exact same idea. How did that work out for them? Spoiler alert, about as well as your New Year's resolutions to hit the gym. These creatures don't care about your home security system or the baseball bat under your bed. They're like a Black Friday mob with supernatural steroids on meth. Let's talk about these things because they make your zombie apocalypse preparation look adorably optimistic. These aren't your shambling around looking for brains type of monsters. They're more of the turn your gated community into an all-you-can-eat buffet variety. While you're busy posting about your emergency preparedness kit on Reddit because you're one of those weirdos that does that, they're already treating your town like it's their own personal food court. The real kick in the teeth though, nobody believes it's happening until it's too late. Try calling 911 and saying, hey, my entire town is being devoured by something that makes The Walking Dead look like Sesame Street. The only response you're gonna get is a wellness check, if you're lucky enough to still have phone service afterwards. But if you think being hunted by a horde of supernatural predators is terrifying, wait until you discover what happens when your family reunion turns out to be more of a sacrificial gathering. I hope you didn't send that RSVP. Because apparently 23andMe wasn't terrifying enough. Paranormal Activity's next of kin is about to make your weird uncle's conspiracy theories at Thanksgiving dinner look like casual small talk. Because this isn't your regular, oh, we're actually part Irish revelation. This is what happens when your Ancestry.com results come back with demonic possession as a dominant trait. Meet Margot, who thought tracking down her birth family would be a heartwarming journey of self-discovery. Aw, that's cute. Spoiler, it was a mistake. Basically, she found out her bloodline is haunted by demon ancestry. And before you start with the, I would have noticed the red flags, that's nonsense. We both know you can't tell when someone's just being nice to you to sell you something. You're not gonna know about demons in your blood. But I would just respect the ancient customs. Oh my God, dude. These aren't your typical no phones at dinner table type of customs. We're talking about traditions that make your family's weird holiday rituals look like a children's tea party. While you're trying to figure out which fork to use, they're deciding which demon gets to wear you like a fancy skin suit. Now, let's talk about Asmodeus, because this isn't your standard bump in the night spooky ghost story. This demon doesn't just want to make you jump or move your furniture around. It's in playing the longest game of supernatural hot potato with your family tree. And guess who's next in line for the world's worst inheritance? It's you. But the real punchline? The cult that's been containing this thing thinks they're the good guys. Plot twist, when your idea of helping involves sacrificing family members, maybe it's time to try therapy instead. But if you think demonic family traditions are bad, wait and see what happens when the boogeyman starts a YouTube channel. Yes, I'm serious, because we need to talk about Sinister 2. Because you know how everyone's obsessed with true crime documentaries these days? Well, Sinister 2 is about to make your favorite Murder Mystery Monday podcast look like Blue's Clues. Because these aren't your regular whodunit home movies. They're more like Satan's Greatest Hits Family Edition. Let's talk about Bagul. And no, that's not a rejected Pokemon name. This ancient deity decided that kidnapping children wasn't spicy enough for them, so he started his own murder-themed film club. I'm not even joking. Think of him as the world's worst film professor, except his student projects end with everybody dead and he gives out more than just failing grades. But I would just destroy the films. Wow, genius plan, because an ancient deity who's been collecting souls since before Jesus Christ was even around is definitely going to be stopped by you breaking his favorite snuff films. That's like trying to stop a hurricane by blowing on it. But the real nightmare fuel here? The ghost children. These aren't your typical boo spirits. They're like the world's deadliest film critics, and they're very passionate about expanding their collection. While you're busy trying to figure out why the projector turned itself on, they're already storyboarding your family's final moments with more enthusiasm than a film student with their first camera. And here's the kicker. These murder movies aren't just for show. They're like the world's worst DIY tutorials, except instead of teaching you how to make a homemade plant holder, they're showing increasingly creative ways to turn family game night into murder. Each film is basically a murder recipe video, and guess who is on the ingredients list? Well, luckily it's you, because if it's not you, you get taken by the demon and turned into a psychopath murderer ghost thingy child. It's not a good fate. But honestly, if you think supernatural snuff films are disturbing, wait and see what happens when a documentary about the European dream becomes a nightmare that makes Black Mirror look optimistic. Hope your passport's up to date, because this movie is bad. You ever had a really bad day while you're on a trip abroad? Well, Sergio Prokov is about to make your story about losing your wallet in Barcelona look like a Disney vacation vlog, because this isn't your typical lost in translation nightmare. This is what happens when your European adventure becomes an express ticket to rock bottom, and then rock bottom starts digging and does meth. Meet our protagonist, a journalist who thought he'd make a cute little documentary about the European dream. I would like to describe this movie as Borat meets What the Because spoiler alert, the only dream here is the fever kind, and Paris isn't just going to eat his baguette, it's going to eat his soul. The true terror of this movie is that there is no monster here. It's just the slow, excruciating breakdown of the human mind. No demons, no ghosts, no ancient curses. Just good old-fashioned psychological collapse with a side of existential crisis mixed with an OCD anxiety-fueled rage. You're literally watching someone's life spiral before your eyes, and they go off the deep end. And here's the real gut punch. Everything that happens in this movie is possible and could be real. This isn't some supernatural entity that you can just blame and say, oh, it's not gonna be in my closet tonight. It's just the domino effect of increasingly bad decisions mixed with the worst luck since that time I bought Bitcoin in 2024. And there you have it, 10 horror movies that would absolutely wreck you, no matter how built different you think you are. If you think you'd survive any of these, let me know down in the comments below. And before you drop your comment, like this video and subscribe, because if this video gets 10K likes, I'll make another one talking about even more disturbing movies in this series. And if you want to see if you can survive even more horror movies, click the video on screen now.